Welcome to the final video in the series of grade 6 pieces from the ABRSM book, C3 Shushiki, which is the piece we're going to look at today. We're going to give it a go, see how it sounds, and I'm going to talk to you about the things you need to watch out for when learning it. We'll check the tempo first, 84 dotted crotchet beats a minute. Got to be careful here because it's moving along very quickly. If that's the tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gives you this. That kind of tempo, it's quite fast. So we'll give it a go and see what happens. Here we are. So, going back to the beginning then, the first thing we need to be aware of is that we're pedaling those 4 bars. So we're keeping that down. If I play it slowly, that's the sound we're getting if we play it slowly, a very blurry sound, which can be a bit disorientating if you're not used to pedaling over multiple bars. You might instinctively want to pedal each bar separately, but you've got to resist that temptation. In terms of dynamics, it is generally quite soft, although we've got lots of those kind of crescendo and decrescendo signs. Don't get too hung up on that at the beginning of learning this. I think just get used to playing the timing correctly and a smooth touch and controlling that. I think you'll instinctively bring out that da-da-dum, da-da-dum, that sort of effect. Accented notes where possible. That sort of phrasing. So we're going to be fine once we get the pedal down. It will just sound, the faster it goes, it just flows, you know. I think that last note, that pianissimo, is a nice note just to not hit too hard. But that last bit of it, there's that little crescendo towards the end of that bar 4. Then in bar 5, it's a similar story. That's the effect felt there. Sopra means crossing hands, in case you didn't know that. So in bar 3 and in bar 7, sopra simply means we're crossing the left hand over to play those notes. It is unusual for the left hand to be higher than the right hand, but that's what's happening in those bars, bar 3 and 4 and bar 7 and 8. So let's move on to bar 9. We're pedaling half a bar in bar 9, and then we're coming off, and we're trying to make sure we don't pedal that. And then we can accent. Sopra again, crossing over. This is very awkward because the left hand's very high. And although the accents are written in on the F sharps, that high up, it's very hard to get that contrasting sort of feel. So we're doing that bar 11. Sorry. It's very confusing going from that point actually, but a good thing to try and do to test yourself. At the end of the day, when we're on that bar, the most important thing is bringing out the melody still. So we then continue, watching all the time for changes of clef in the left hand, because of course at the end of bar 12 you've got the bass clef coming back in, and then in bar 14 the treble clef, so you've just got to be really looking out for all these clef changes in the left hand. At bar 13, we're not really pedalling that section yet. That's the effect of that. It's quite straightforward. And then we carry on. That last bit, you know, that C sharp in bar 18 just coming off. The same is true in the previous couple of bars actually, from bar 15 and 16. So if I go from that coming off on the D there at the end of bar 16. Little details just to watch out for. If I carry on from bar 17, very important just to have that very last part there nice and soft, dying away, bar 20. Lovely and gentle there. And then bar 21. Lovely with admiration written in there. So just kind of gentle but still a little bit broad. Kind of crescendoing through that, and then what have we got? So a bit of a crescendo in bar 25. So an important point to note here is that in bar 16 there's a trill there which I was playing as, but if you look carefully enough the D is actually tied, which is very odd, and you get the same effect in bar 18. It's not, it's, sorry, very unnatural to do, and the same in bar 22. I think the best approach to get this is basically think of it as a decrescendo. So as you hit this, kind of just dissipating, that kind of effect. I think at speed it's not really going to be very noticeable whether you play it as a standard trill, but just make sure it's, yeah, just be aware of it. You don't want to be going, don't emphasize the last note in that trill, whatever you do. You just got to kind of die off, that sort of effect. So I'm going to play that phrase slowly. That's kind of how it would go down. Very unnatural to do, so just be aware of that, because when I played it earlier I didn't do it like that actually. And then we can pick up from the third bar of page 2, bar 19. That lovely dying away effect there, that nice, very soft bar 20. So, sorry, do that again. And then we can carry on, bar 21. Nice little crescendo there in bar 25. And then that dropping back, lovely little detail there. When you get to bar 26, you've basically learnt the piece, because from this point we're repeating the earlier idea. Bar 27 is literally the same as going from the beginning. And from this point we're just playing the same musical ideas, certainly to start with here. Nothing much different about that. I noticed the pianissimo isn't written in the left-hand part on bar 30, which was written in bar 4. So, I mean, I guess we're following a similar type of dynamic, though, to earlier. So we're going to push forwards with this. We have got a page turn, which you can either use a sheet next to it, which is probably the safer option, or you could, in theory, practice this and turn the page if you go from bar 20, let's say we're going from bar 31. The only problem is, when you're playing it at speed, that page turn is going to be very difficult. If you fluff up the page turn in the middle, then that's going to be difficult. Alternatively, you could memorise the piece, and therefore you wouldn't have to worry about page turns then. If we carry on then, scanning through the third page, you haven't actually got any more work to do here. We get all the way through, and at the point where I get to bar 43, in fact 41, that sounds just like earlier. It's all the same, and bar 45. This one here is a jump up, which I think we had earlier. Yeah, did we have a jump like that earlier? No, we didn't have a jump like that earlier. This is where it changes, yeah. Bar 47, we have to shift sideways. It's an awkward thing to move quickly on. You've got to be very careful just to practice that slowly. And then, of course, you want that nice decrescendo at the very last bit. So this has been a difficult one for me to do a tutorial on, actually, because it's just one of those pieces that it's just a fiddly thing to learn, and it is hard to play at speed. You have to really practice it a lot before it will feel easy to do. But the key thing is just take your time in practicing it, and hopefully it will lock in nicely if you decide to pick this as a piece. At least you know what it sounds like, and you can give it a go. So good luck if you try it, and thanks for watching. I'll be going on to grade 7s next, so that's the next round of videos coming. So if you want to stick around and watch some of them, please feel free. Okay, thanks for now. Bye.